Alright, so here's a little update for anyone who is interested in. I'm in a 2020 Toyota Camry LE Hybrid. It's the entry level, and therefore it doesn't have any of the fancy leather or sunroof or anything, but it does have the lithium ion battery. The car's rated for 51 MPG city, 53 highway, but my numbers are very different. Today is the 14th, if I'm not mistaken, of March, and it's the year's 2020. I bought the car back in September. Commute a lot for work, so I was putting a little over 1,000 miles per week on the car. So I'm already a little over 20,000 miles on the car. I'm at 22,436 miles. Difficult to show because I'm using my phone and it's a bit bulky, but at the moment MPGs are in the mid 40s for this trip. I just started driving. I waited a couple of minutes because the seatbelt chime is extremely annoying. I've looked up videos on how to turn that off, but the ones I came across did not help, so I might ask the dealer if they can do it. We'll see. Cruising around these back roads, not in the inner city, but outer city back roads. The car does extremely well. It's 50 degrees out today, and on my way to the store that I just went to, I was averaging 74 MPG without really trying much. But now I'm heading home from that store with a few 100 pounds of chicken feed and stuff in the trunk, and it's only been a few minutes that I've been on the road, 5 minutes to be exact, and I'm already in the mid 40s for the MPGs, and I'll show you this. See, I'm at 47.9 MPGs. I've gone 236 miles on this tank, and I'm still, where is it? Right down there. I'm still over 3/4 of a tank. Still over 3/4 of a tank, and I've gone almost 250 miles. It's amazing. In the winter, MPGs do struggle on the highway. The cold forces you to use your heat, which makes the gas engine kick on more often. And I've heard before that the winter blend of gas that is created has agents in it to prevent freezing, which hurt fuel economy. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's something I've heard. I don't really think that that's true. I think the reason the car's drinking more gas when it's really cold out is having the heat on and forcing that gas engine to kick on more often to maintain a certain temperature, because you're asking for that heat. But on a day like this where it's 49, 50 degrees out, heat's off, I'm perfectly comfortable, and MPGs are extremely good. I just want to do this little trip here, driving normal. I'm not in eco mode or anything. I'm in just normal mode. I have noticed that on the highway, if I have the car loaded with passengers, putting it in sport mode makes the throttle respond better to climb hills or simply to stay at speed. It seems to have a better torque or something. So while using lower RPMs, I manage to maintain speed, and I get better MPGs with a loaded car if I'm in sport mode. If it's just me in the car, changing it between sport mode and leaving it normal doesn't seem to really make a difference. In the last 6 months that I've had the car, having put so many miles on the car in a short period of time, I've managed to run a lot of different calculations between having the vehicle in eco, normal, or sport. So figured if anyone's interested in this type of car, you might want to know some of the things about it. Mainly the deal on the car. I got the extended warranty, so I got free service on the car until it has like 80,000 miles. I didn't want it, but for me to qualify with the poor level of credit that I had to opt for it because it helped my interest rate be really low. And either way, things in life changed, and I'm not doing that long commute anymore, so I'm not going to burn through the warranty, long before the years run out on the warranty, because it's 80,000 miles or 3 years, whichever comes first. I was going to hit 80,000 miles within a year and a half doing the job that I was doing. That's not happening now because I've put my intentions to doing something else, mainly working for myself. And so far that's going really well, and I'm not having to put a ton of miles on the car because I'm a lot closer to the source of employment that I'm doing. Something they mentioned about the maintenance on the car. I mean, free oil changes, okay, whatever. The car being a hybrid gets an oil change every 10,000 miles. It wouldn't break the bank if I was paying for it out of my pocket. But supposedly there are certain maintenance things that are required at 50 or 60,000 miles that they stressed were a bit expensive. So I know people typically get Toyotas because they can just drive them, not really be too concerned with maintenance, and they still just take it and keep driving. But I did go for those warranties that would cover those so-called expensive maintenance things, just so that I could, have a cheaper payment. It saved me a little over $100 a month on the monthly payment, and my interest rate, which was gonna be 19%, is only 2.9%. So what I would have spent on interest over the years versus the amount that I spent on the warranties throughout the course of the life of the loan, I'll still end up saving 5 or 6 grand. So I would have spent 5 or 6 grand more just on interest had I not gotten the warranties. So that's cool. Figured I'd mention about the warranty because I wanted to touch base on those so-called maintenance concerns that the dealer had. The other thing I want to touch base on is the seatbelt chime. It is the most annoying thing in the world. Yeah, it only goes for a minute and a half, whatever it is. But I can't deal with that most of the time, and I just throw my belt on. And if I don't feel like throwing my belt on because of my claustrophobia messing with me at that moment, I blare some music, and cracking the window open allows some of that chime noise to go out the window. I've noticed that when the window's completely shut and the music's off and the chime's going off, it echoes in here a lot more. So a couple of tricks to avoid that: throw the music on for a couple of minutes and cancel out the stupid chime. They every 5,000 miles the car goes in for its so-called free maintenance, and it gets a tire rotation and they top off the fluids every 5,000, but every 10,000 the oil change is added to that maintenance service. MPGs on the car. I've been on the road now 13 minutes and I'm at 56.3 MPG. Let me put that here on the screen here. 56.1 now. And I'm on roads that, you know, they're the outer skirts of back roads. You know, I'm not on a highway. I'm not driving at highway speeds, but I'm also not stop and go like you would be if you were downtown in the middle of, you know, the heart of a city. Those areas do tend to give me lower MPGs. And we're climbing right now, but I'm already at 58.7 MPG. Just dropped to 57.1 because I'm accelerating a little bit. But here at the top of this bridge, it'll level out, and the MPGs are now down to 55.5. That's too far. But they'll start climbing now that I'm going downhill, and they'll decrease when I'm going uphill. All that has an effect on this car. Another thing that you might want to know is that if it's windy out, throw your calculations thing out the window. It's pointless to try and calculate what it's going to do with the winds, because it's going to mess with the car a lot. You're gonna have, between the cold and the wind, if it's cold and windy, you'll be lucky to get 40 MPG. And I say that based on a trip that I would do, which was an hour and 45 minutes each way, from home to work, and then again from work to home. And I'd get home 102 miles later and still just be just under or just over 40 MPG because of the cold and wind. If it's not that cold out but it's windy, you're gonna get to the high 40s. You might even hit 50, but you're not gonna get the rated 53 MPG highway unless it's, you know, above 50 degrees typically, with, you know, moderate wind, you know, 5 mile per hour winds or something like that, 5-10 mile per hour winds. Then you're definitely going to see not just the EPA rating of 53, but you might even get more than that if you're not dealing with too many hills. If you're climbing a lot of hills, yeah, you'll most likely still see the 53-ish in a 2-hour drive. If you're in a short drive, if you're just 30 minutes on the highway, you might get close to that 50, 52-ish, but it's going to be harder to get to those MPGs on a short highway drive, because a short highway drive isn't going to give you the time frame you need for the car to have its highs and its lows average out to the MPG that it's rated at. I'm already at 61.1 MPG, and it just dropped to 59.8 because I had to take off from the stop sign. But I'll show you when I pull in over here. I'm already at 60.5 and 61.2. Okay, and I'm gonna turn over here on this street, which has a decent steep incline, so that's gonna affect it a little bit. It levels out, goes down a bit, and back down to 59.8. So you see how sensitive it is. and I've been driving for 18 minutes, and it's the trip is still sensitive enough to fluctuate that much. When you're on a trip that's an hour and a half long to 2 hours long, your trip is going to become more steady because of how long you've been driving. On short distances, it's gonna be very fluid. It's gonna vary a lot. And I'm in my street now, my neighborhood. I'm about 30 seconds from my house. It's been a 19-minute. It's gonna be 20 minutes of a drive by the time I get there, because I didn't use the highway. I used back streets because 20 minutes on a highway, like I said, I would not see MPGs in the 60s, even though the car's rated for 51 city, 53 highway. In the city, I'm already, look, 63.5. Okay, the sun got in the way there, and 63.9, and it just keeps climbing. So I didn't use the highway because that would have turned my drive into a 15-minute drive. It would have saved me 5 minutes, but my MPGs, because today it is a little bit windy, my MPGs would have stayed in the 40s, high 40s. Maybe it would have cracked 50, but I want to get the most I can, and I'm not exactly in a hurry with what I'm doing. Just running some errands, getting some chicken feed for the chickens, and blah, blah, blah. I'm backing up over here over my grass to the backyard so that I can empty the trunk right at the chicken coop, because I'm not going to carry this stuff all the way from the house to the chicken coop. And I'm going to stop it right there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and now that I'm here in my property, I'll show you again. I'm sorry I have to keep turning the phone sideways, which messes with your screen. But see, 65.2. It's not the mid 70s because, like I said, I got a few hundred pounds of chicken feed in the trunk that I didn't have on my way there. But it was a 21-minute drive. I'm at 65.2 for this trip. My total is at 56.8. That's since the last time that this page has been reset. And on this tank, I'm at 49.1 because I have been on the highway a few times. And with 243 miles driven, I'm still just above the on the camera. It doesn't look like it, but I'm still just above the 3/4 tank mark. So really, who could complain about that? I mean, most people probably wouldn't complain about hitting 50 MPG, but the more the better for me. It gives me like a wow factor. So yeah, let me show you how much weight I have in the trunk so that I can prove that I got these 3 bags, I got these 2 big bags, and I got these other smaller bags here. 200 to 300 pounds that's in the trunk. And there's the chickens and my 2 waterfowls, annoying as ducks they are. Okay, there's no shade for them right now because I pulled it back in case we get snow. It doesn't break this whole thing up. And yeah, I'm getting ready for a trip to Florida in the near future, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough enough feed here for them to be cared for while I'm gone. Someone will be around to collect the eggs daily, but I don't think they're really, I don't think they're gonna want to be also feeding the chickens. So my feeder's big enough. I can get 7 or 8 days out of it. And before I do go, I have a couple of other feeders that I'm gonna add to that equation that usually last a couple of days. So the 9 days I'll be gone for should more than accommodate what they need. Um, but yeah, off topic. The Camry, good car. I don't regret buying it. I don't regret getting the deal I got on it. The rated MPGs, if that's what you're buying it for, which I don't see what other reason you'd be buying it for. The rated MPGs are a lot more fluctuating than what they say the car will get. That 51 in a city, if you're in the heart of a city, you're not going to get that. Stop and go. You go from a red light to the next intersection, and it's 300 feet. You know, you're accelerating and then you're stopping, and then you're accelerating and you're stopping. And somebody has to cross the road, and you never stop the stop and go with short distances in the heart of a city, unless you're in the boonies and your population is 300 or something for the town that you live in. You're not going to see those numbers in the heart of a city. You'll see high 30s, maybe low 40s. If you manage to catch all the lights green and no pedestrians are crossing the road, but you're not going to get the 51 MPG. That much I can guarantee. And the 53 on the highway, if you're on a long enough drive, sure. And if it's hot out and you're using DAC, you need that drive to be that much longer for the car to compensate and give you the MPG that the rating is for. So if you're not going far from home and you're not restricted on time, on running your errands or going to work or home or whatever, even if it takes you an extra 5 minutes, it's worth taking back roads because you'll get 10 to 15 MPG more than what it's rated for on the highway, being that, highway is supposed to be 53, but on a short 15 minute burst, you're not going to see that. So I hope this video helps somebody. If so, give a like. I don't know how often I'll be posting videos, but occasionally, either on the car, the chickens, messing with the yard, or working on something. I do a little bit of everything. So once in a blue moon, I decide to make a video and share it, and maybe inspire someone or give somebody a piece of info that they wish they had before. All right. Until next time, take care, everyone. Have a nice day.